Hello YouTube, my name is Ntare Umar, and today we are going to discuss about debts. So we are going to discuss about two types of debts and what leads to those two types of debts, and what are the causes plus what are the gains in those debts. So let's jump into it. So what is a debt? A debt is a deferred payment. What do we mean by a deferred payment? Deferred payment, it's a payment done at a later date or at a later time. So a debt go both ways. A nation gets is the same debt an individual gets, but it's how you use that debt that classifies which debt that you're supposed to get, or that classifies how big or how useful a debt is supposed to be. So what leads to formation of capital? Before that, any nation that saves, any nation that does a saving, it has to grow, or any individual that saves his money has to grow with time. And any individual that under-consumes, it means that he has to get the additional money to save, or the additional proportion to save, leads to what we call capital formation. So when you get saving plus under-consumption, those two make what we call capital formation, because you're under-consuming, you're living below your means. This is under-consumption. For any economy to grow, or an individual, you have to under-consume. So if you under-consume and save, that leads to capital formation. So failure to under-consume and save, that will lead you into a debt. Failure to under-consume and save, it will sink you into a debt. So what is capital formation? Capital formation, as I said, is saving plus under-consumption. Any nation, either Uganda or other countries, the main goal, or an individual, the main goal that you're supposed to be focusing on as an individual, a nation, is to save and under-consume at the moment, which will lead to development of your finance or growth of finance and economy. So every nation that sinks into a debt that it cannot pay, it either overconsumes and has little production, or expansion. So if a nation expands, what do I mean by expansion of a nation? Employment of more government workers leads to an expansion of a nation. Second thing, if a nation goes and sinks into foreign debt and it does not pay in time, or it cannot afford interests, mostly that one happens to African countries, and also the expansion of a nation happens to other countries. Employment of more MPs who in parliament also leads to expansion of the nation. Building up of more districts, because they need other workers to work into them. So formation of multiple districts lead to expansion of the nation. So if the nation expands, that's what I mean by expansion, it will also lead to an increase of tax. When it leads to an increase of tax and the people cannot afford that tax, it will lead to a nation going into a debt. So what do I mean by good debts and bad debts? So basically we have two types of debts, what we call capital debt or investment debt, and consumer debt. What do we mean by capital debt? A capital debt is a debt that is given to a business, or is money that is given to a business that is supposed to be paid at a later time. So this one is a good debt, which means capital debt. So capital debt leads to formation of factories, plants, buying of machinery that is going to be used in factories, that lead to more production of goods and services. So And consumer debt, this is the money given to a consumer to spend. Examples of consumer debts, we have credit cards, which is not in Africa, it's mostly in European countries, which is credit cards. You spend now and pay in future, which is also very bad or a dangerous zone. So we go to investment debts. The benefits of investment debts, we have an increase in production, because if you bought a machinery or if you built a factory, there will be an increase into production. Mostly China uses this type of debt. It builds factories, which leads to employment of workers, which leads to consumers even getting more goods to consume. Savers can get their interest back and their principal back. So this is basically what we call debts, and there are two types of debts that can lead to a nation to thrive, or an individual to thrive, or an individual to go bankrupt, or a nation to go bankrupt. So thank you for watching. I hope I see you next time. Please subscribe and hit the notification button.